This is a Storm Team 11 severe weather update.
All right, good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, we got a little bit of severe weather out there. We've been dealing with some flooding across the region, but now we have a tornado warning for a couple counties in southwest Virginia. That is Smyth County, Virginia, and also Bland County, Virginia, all the way up into Wythe County, Virginia as well. Tazewell, Virginia is also in that polygon. So you can see a live look of what we're looking at right now. I'll actually go ahead and run the radar for about an hour or so behind. There was a special weather statement issued right there closer to Marion, and the storm kind of continued to progress towards the northeast. And then there you go, tornado warning issued just a few moments ago, and it's set to expire at about 9:30 p.m. So expected to expire here in the next 30 minutes. Let's go ahead and break down some of those details. I'll stop running the radar right there, and then we'll go into shear rate, velocity. Well, it's kind of, if anything, I'm seeing more of a broad rotation at this point. Not really seeing a little bit. You can see a little bit of a couplet maybe just to the west of rural retreat. But once again, if you're in any of these locations, especially into Tazewell, Whitfield, into rural retreat, you need to be seeking shelter at this time. That is either the lowest level of your house, that is your basement, or also into a little just tight room, a bathroom or a closet. So yes, tornado warning till 9:30 p.m. Shear rate, velocity really not showing, maybe a little bit of a culprit right there, and going into storm relative velocity, and then there we go, shear. Not really seeing, maybe just seeing a little bit of weak shear at this point. But I'll go ahead and I think Mark wants to take over. So Mark, what do you think we're seeing?
Yeah, you know, when you look at this, we have that rotation, that typical rotation that we've been looking at across parts of, again, Smyth County. This is also into Bland and Wythe County. What's interesting, I want to change gears. If you switch us over onto links 1 here, Jared, we could show you. I'm going to show this full screen because this area here, as you look at that, you can actually see that couplet right there just south and west of rural retreat. And Mount Rogers is where they're saying the possible tornado is. You can see how it's been coming east of Marion, Virginia. So it actually started back here well to the southeast of Marion, and now it is pushing with some lightning there up towards a rural retreat area. That's why they issued the warning. But actually it started before the warning was issued there. And this again is now coming up towards rural retreat just to the west of that region, and again is pushing towards the northeast. So that's what you got to look for here. We've got that couplet, that red and green couplet right there. That's where you'd see a rotation again. This especially for Smyth County, although it's pretty much going to leave Smyth County, so Bland and Wythe County will be on that, and it will move out of our coverage area. But you know, the storms we have today, 1, we've got a frontal boundary over us, and 2, we've got an upper level low system, and that's been responsible for producing these tornadoes from West Virginia down across parts of Virginia now, and you're seeing that activity right there. So let's switch back to the radar there on your system over there, Jared. You can definitely see that we're still watching those showers and thunderstorms across the region. If we can, there's that tornado warning. And again, let's take some of the data out. We'll look at that storm relative velocity here, because there's the radar, and there you can see a broad center of circulation now, and that's why we're still watching that tornado warned storm. Here is Marion, rural retreat. Let's get a little closer in, and right up along Interstate 81 here. And for the most part, this is broadened out. It's not a really tight circulation like we had with the storm system yesterday over Hancock County that actually produced a tornado. This is a more widespread, broad circulation. Let's switch over here to FCX there. You'll get a better idea, Jared, as to what we're looking at. We'll look at Blacksburg in Virginia, and then look at their storm relative. And again, you can see that there's that couplet right there. That's why we changed the radar. As you can see, as that radar goes out, we're coming in from Blacksburg here, looking at the storm, and that's what we're looking at right there. That's that center of circulation right there, and that's where you have to be concerned about. You can actually add some cities on here if you can, Jared. There's a center of circulation. We got the red and the green going towards, red going away, and that's what we're looking at. So you see that counterclockwise rotation right in through here. So back to the radar, you can definitely see this, and again, that's a tornado warning for Smyth County into Bland County and Wythe County. And back to the radar, you can definitely see as we're going to look from Blacksburg radar now. We'll show you the coverage of the storms here. Let's get that tornado warning off of there as well. You can click anywhere outside of that, and you'll definitely see that we're watching the showers and thunderstorms and very heavy rain. We cannot reiterate that enough. We've certainly seen very heavy rain over the past couple of hours here across this region. You want to go to FCX right there, and we'll look at the reflectivity here. There again, look at that. There's that little core here. If we keep it right there and switch over to our hail path, you can definitely see if we've had any hail, a little bit of hail here. Let's turn the lightning on here as well, because you can turn the lightning on, and you'll definitely see that we have lightning counter right there. You can see where we have the 2 on there next to the lightning strike, and we'll see how many strikes of lightning there are. Sometimes when we get tornado activity, we see the lightning kind of ramping up here, but we're not really noticing that. We don't have the counter on there right next to that, Jared, the number 2 sign. Right there you go. Not a lot of lightning. So let's go back to the reflectivity here. And again, you can definitely see that storm right there. A little bit of an appendage now coming down. So let's zoom in, and if you can, we'll switch back to the velocity, storm relative velocity, and see what it looks like here, because again, there's that couplet right in through here. And again, Jared, we're going to watch that. And what's the speed on this moving again? We're looking at here. It's moving about, let's see what's moving here. I'm trying to read 2 different things here. But it is, let's see, I'm looking at
moving north at 10 miles per hour. Moving
Okay.
north at 10 miles per hour, I believe.
Yeah, it's moving north at 30 miles per hour
sorry,
now.
I see
So
that.
that's what we're looking at. It's moving north at 30. And again, that couplet still showing a sign here. The red and the green, that's where your radar is indicating we have rotation on the radar here. And that's what we're looking at. This again, near Rural Retreat. Here's Interstate 81 right here. And I'm going to switch over to Jared just for a second, because I want to add some cities on here, because we don't have a lot of cities. So I know you folks want to see if you're in the path of this storm. And by doing that, I just want to add some places here, Jared, so we can see a little bit better as to where we're at. I'm going to show you some of the cities. Let's switch over here. Go ahead, Jared.
All right, Mark. Yeah, we're still seeing that center of circulation just to the north of Rural Retreat. I'll go ahead and circle that rotation for you right there. I'll go ahead and also shift to maybe links.
Yeah, if you switch over here,
yeah,
you can
there we go.
definitely
There we
see
go.
that. Yep.
It's
I've
looking
added
like
some cities.
closer to just north of Atkins, Nebo, and I guess that's Gross Close Store is where we're looking at. The system continues to push about the north, about 30 miles per hour. So the center of rotation is just right there, just to the east of Nebo, and just right closer to, I should say, Stinson. So that is where the center of rotation is. You can kind of see where that red and green are rotating at that point. We'll take another close look at least the reflectivity here. And there we go. There's the reflectivity. Got pretty of a strong core. You can see where almost within the reflectivity of where that storm is kind of rotating at this point, and see if we can see any shear, which obviously indicates maybe a little bit of maybe debris in the air. Yeah, you're starting to see a little bit of shear right there coming from our radar. So yes, it's looking like it's more of a broad rotation at this point. There is no confirmed tag right now, at least for that warning or that warned area closer to the north of Rural Retreat, Stinson area, and pretty much across portions of Southwest Virginia. I'll even take a closer look at that correlation coefficient. Not really seeing a drop off in the correlation coefficient. Maybe a little bit to the northwest of Rural Retreat where that center of rotation is. Otherwise, we're just keeping an eye on the reflectivity and storm relative velocity, because that's pretty much the good tool right now that we can see what is currently happening here across portions of Southwest Virginia. I'll even do a time lapse over the last hour going into reflectivity right here. There you go. You see it started closer to Marion and then continued its track towards the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. And then you go, it continues its track up towards the northeast, going in towards close to I-77 right there, and it's already passed over I-81. So once again, if you're in the locations that we mentioned already into Marion, Tazewell, and those areas, you need to be seeking shelter at this time. Once again, that is the lowest area of your home. If you have a basement, get towards your basement immediately. If you don't have a basement, well, you need to find an area such as a bathroom or a closet. You just don't want to be away from those windows, because those winds can cause some debris to fly into your windows and into your house. So yes, we're still tracking this tornado warning. Once again, it goes till 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Smyth County all the way up into, I believe, Wythe County as well. So it's closer. We'll take a closer look after I zoom, or after I stop this radar right here, just to get an idea. Yeah, the polygon has kind of shrunk just a little bit. So if you're closer to Rural Retreat, you're pretty much in the clear at this point. Still can see some showers right there, but otherwise the storm continues to track out towards the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Mark, what do you?
Yeah, it's interesting because we are right on the border here of Bland County and Wythe County. So this tornado warned storm, once it moves into those counties, we're pretty much going to let the coverage go, because this really is getting on the edge of our coverage area. Gross Close Store there, you're seeing that. Also Stinson, and you can see that rotation right in through here. And this is the county line right there. So we're watching that's going to make its way, continuing to push off towards the east, northeast. northeast. And if you're on that, Jared, zoom out just a bit so we can show you where Wytheville is. You can see this. Well, that's, I think, a Lynx 1. And if you go back to yours, your radar, we can definitely see this. Here is Wytheville right here. And this right here, if you click in there, Jared, this is Bland County, Wythe County area. So that's what we're looking at, that tornado warning again for Bland County until 9:30. You notice here just a smidgen of Smyth County left in this. So we're not going to be on the air that long because it's moving out of our viewing area tonight. But this little corner still is where we have that tornado warning until 9:30. But this is your storm here. Let's go back to storm relative because this is what I want to show you. You can still see a bit of rotation right there. Yes, we've looked at our coefficient correlation. Not much happening here, but we do have that broad center of circulation. And again, you know what, Jared, if you would take off the warning real quick, the tornado warning, just we'll take the red box off. Let's see if this right here is still part of that warning or if that's actually some of the rotation. You can see a little couplet right in through here as well. So still something going on there. There's a center of circulation there, and that's why we're still looking at that. And I'm looking at some of the storm stuff on here as well, some of the notes coming out from the National Weather Service offices. And again, that's going to continue to make its way into Bland County, which is out of our viewing area. So we cover up to Smyth County. Once it moves into the Wytheville and Bland area, that's another television market. But nonetheless, you can see how it's moved over the state line right here. You zoom out, you can see Marion here. This is Smyth County right in here. State line, that center of circulation off to our northeast now. But that tornado warning, if you turn the warning back on, that is still in effect here for Bland County. I think, yep, a little smidgen. However, I think the worst of it is now out of Smyth County. I think you folks are okay. That center of circulation now moving into areas of Bland County. It's moving north about 30 miles per hour. If you're in Tazewell County, we'll zoom out just a bit too, because I know we have viewers sometimes in Tazewell County. This is going to lift north, and unfortunately today we've seen several tornadoes reported across areas of West Virginia, and that again looking like it's going to go the same direction. You have to realize we've got an upper level low sitting over us, we've got a front sitting over us, and that's why the tornado threat is there. Now I think as we go through Friday morning, another round of possibility of tornado activity in our region. We're watching the tropical system. Helene is going to make its way rapidly into our region, so starting late Thursday night, Friday morning, could see more tornado activity. But right there, that tornado warning is still in effect now. Tazewell County, you can click into Smyth County. We're going to still see that. We'll give you one last update because I really think the threat here has ended for Smyth County. We'll zoom in. There is Smyth County. If you click on that, which he has, there's Smyth County right there, still in effect until 9:30. But the main storm system now into Bland County, and if we click that, you can see the velocity here, where that center of circulation is. Again, moving north through Bland County, it's going to come up into Tazewell County, and this is a very broad center of circulation right there. And I'm not seeing any reports of any damage or anything, but they're going to keep this tornado warning storm. And again, that's in effect for Bland, Smyth, and Tazewell and Wythe County until 9:30. So earlier at about 9:06, about 4 or 5 minutes ago, they located the tornado near Marion. But you notice here, if you look at Marion, it's pretty much moving due north. If you even switch over to our velocity mode here, we'll take a look at the Marion area itself. We've got some, there it goes right there. So if you take this back in time and widen this out a bit, you can definitely see where the storm started. It started way down here into Smyth County right there, and then they issued that tornado warning. There it is right there, the red and green couplet. That's our tornado signature, moving again through areas of Smyth County into Bland County, and now it's going to move northward into the West Virginia bordering counties there as well. So tornado warning storm, Jared, we're looking at that, but really looking at some of the data, I think the threat here has ended for parts of Smyth County. I think it's more Bland County into Tazewell and maybe even Wythe County, but really it looks like that storm system is moving north.
Yes, Mark, that system continues to move towards the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Really more of a broad rotation, kind of what Mark was saying. You can just kind of see where that red and green on the radar indicating where those winds are exactly going. But the rotation continues to broaden, and even though we're pretty much out of Smyth County now, still taking a closer look at least what has happened. I mean, Mark has kind of already explained it in entirety. The storms continue, or that storm started closer to Marion and continued to track out towards the north and east. Really started in Marion, as that special weather statement indicates that, and then now continuing to track towards portions of Southwest Virginia. Back to you, Mark.
All right, so as you're looking at the radar, just a heads up for you again, that's now moving into Bland County, not in the WJHL viewing area. Our coverage area stops at Smyth County there. So again, Bland County, northward to Bluefield, that's where that tornado warning storm is. The rest of us looking at flood warnings continuing until 11:15 over East Tennessee. Very heavy rainfall. If we see any other tornado warnings or any other severe weather, we will definitely be on the air for that. If it's a tornado warning, we have to stay on the air. But again, since it's moving out of our area, that's why we're going to go ahead and sign off. Back to your regular programming now.